Hello guys, today you join me in Wales where I'm driving for brand new SEAT Ibiza. It's a 5th generation offer model, it's bigger, it's got more technology, it's got more safety features and it also has more room inside. But what's it like to drive? Well, let's find out. So guys, you join me in for brand new SEAT Ibiza. More specifically, this is the Ibiza FR, which is towards the top of the range and it's the sporty model. Now for those of you that are thinking, well the Cupra is the sporty model. Yeah, there's a slight problem there guys. SEAT isn't going to be making an Ibiza Cupra for the time being. I know, yes, it's quite a big shock. So for the time being, we have to make do with the FR, but I've driven this for a little bit already and I have to say I'm quite impressed with it. So underneath the bonnet, we have a turbocharged 1 litre petrol unit, which produces 115 PS, which is 113 brake horsepower, and it has 200 Newton meters of torque. You'll hit 62 miles per hour in at 9.3 seconds, which is pretty respectable for a car such as this. Now obviously, as I said, it's not your out and out performance model, but the top speed is 121 miles per hour. It's mated to a 6-speed manual gearbox, which I have to say is really nice and slick, it's nice and sturdy, and it feels pretty nice in the hand. And the inside, it's quite a nice place to be. With this being the FR model, you get this nice sporty steering wheel with a perforated leather and red stitching. You also get the FR logo at the bottom, which looks rather nice, and you get these sport seats as well. And in regards to the steering, if I'm honest, it is a little bit too light for me. Now it is nice and direct, and I have to say, for a tool for putting the car into the corners, I do really like it, but I wish there was a little bit more weight. But the car handles really well, it's on sport suspension, but even so, the ride is pretty good. Now, you can hear a little bit of road noise, but it's nothing major. The grip is pretty good. There's not a lot of body roll, it's nice and flat and composed for the corners, and this car handles really well. Now, later on, this car will be available with the 1.5 litre petrol engine, which produces 150 PS, so that's 148 brake horsepower, and there will also be some diesel engines available as well in some of the other Ibiza models. But this little 1 litre engine is pretty pokey. I've got it in 4th at the moment, doing 60, slide it into 5th. That gearbox is lovely. The brakes are quite nice and sharp, which is good. It gives you confidence when you're going into the corners. It just feels so dynamic and so planted, but it also feels grown up as well. Now the car itself is bigger, so it's 87mm wider. It's also lower as well, and it's also a little bit longer, but as well, no, that's a lie. The wheelbase is 65mm longer, whereas the car itself is shorter, but it does mean there's more room inside. In the front, there's plenty of room. I've not sat in the back yet, but I will do that a little bit later. But I have to say, it's quite nice in the front. There's plenty of room, there's plenty of shoulder room, so when you've got a passenger sat next to you, you're not going to be rubbing shoulders, which is quite nice. The boot is also bigger as well. The boot is an impressive 355 litres and for a Super Mini. That's really good. Now it's just over 60 litres bigger than the previous model. So like I say, because the new Ibiza is bigger, it means that you also get a bigger boot. So the boot may be bigger, but what's it like in the back? So I've stepped into the back of another Ibiza, so this isn't an FR model, but even so, the legroom will still be the same. So in the new Ibiza, you get 35mm extra, and it certainly shows. Now, as always, the driver's seat has been altered for myself, and hopefully you can see I've got a fair bit of legroom, which is really good. Now, recently I've driven the Swift and the Fiesta, and both of which had quite disappointing rear legroom, but no such issue in the Ibiza, and the headroom is pretty good as well. So the back of the Ibiza is a pretty good place to be. But there is one slight downside with the new Ibiza. Well, downside to some people, not a really big downside to myself. It's only available in 5-door. And like the Swift I tested last week, and like some of the other new hatchbacks on the market, if you want to have this in a 3-door model, I'm afraid you can't. It's strictly 5-door only, but I still think it looks really good. Okay, so the door handles aren't disguised into the C-pillar like the Swift I mentioned a few moments ago, but come on guys, it's still a really sharp looking car. Now to me it looks like a mini SEAT Leon, which is by no means a bad thing because that's another cracking looking car. And I think the new Ibiza, it looks positively fantastic. This particular model is finished in Desire Red, It's a lovely shade, it really is. The mystery blue is also quite nice as well. So the new Ibiza will come in a choice of 4 trims. So you've got S, SE, FR, and the new top of the range model for Excellence. So in regards to price, the base model will cost you £13,130, then the top of the range model is priced over £16,000. So the Ibiza is definitely competitively priced. But what do you get for your money? Well, the base model S comes with Bluetooth, 5-inch black and white touchscreen, front electric windows, front assist, air conditioning and automatic headlights. The SE model is priced from £14,000. This adds 15-inch alloys, front fog lights with cornering function, 5-inch colour touchscreen, leather steering wheel and 60/40 rear seats. Surprisingly low, DAB radio is an optional extra. The sportier FR is priced from £16,015. This includes 17-inch alloys, FR styling, smartphone connectivity, DAB radio, automatic lights and wipers, sports suspension, cruise control and 4 driving modes. And last but not least, we have the range-topping Excellence model, which is priced at £16,715. This includes 16-inch alloy wheels, tinted windows, keyless entry, Alcantara and leather seats, dual zone climate control, front and rear parking sensors plus a rear facing camera. For you. Now the new Ibiza, as well as being bigger and being 5-door, it's got a bigger boot as well. It's built on Volkswagen's new platform, so it's the MQB-A0 platform. I know it's a very sexy name, and what it basically means is that the car is more refined and it's going to be more composed, it's going to be quieter as well, and that rings true even with big wheels and sports suspension. If I just be quiet for a few moments, it is pretty quiet in here. It definitely feels refined. The inside is a nice place to be, but I've mentioned that already. Got a gloss black plastic trim, which is nice, but it will pick up dust and fingerprints quite quickly. Okay, you do have some hard plastics on the top of the dashboard, but they're not particularly scratchy and they don't feel cheap either. Also got nice bits of leather on the door panels, on the armrests. As I've mentioned, this steering wheel is very nice as well, and I have to say, so far it feels pretty well built and it's still dynamic, so it feels grown up, but it still has a playfulness about it as well, very much like the new Ford Fiesta. And the car is definitely pretty fun. So I've got some lovely roads down here, on my brakes a little bit, gets a bit of speed off. As I said, the steering is nice and direct. Got this lovely winding lane. Brakes again, just to scrub off a bit of speed as we are going downhill. As I said, the brakes are pretty good, and the handling is pretty good as well. I really have got no complaints so far. Whilst I've been sat in the car, I can't think of any negatives, and some might say I'm biased because I actually own an Ibiza FR, so I've got the Mark what's this, Mark 5, so I've got the Mark 3 Ibiza FR. This is definitely a step up, but you would expect it to be, because my car's over 10 years old. Yeah, so lots has changed since then. It looks smarter, it looks sharper as well. You've obviously got more toys inside, more technology, and the new Ibiza also comes with a fair amount of safety features as well, which makes it ideal for family use. It means that you keep your loved ones safe and sound. But yeah, like I say, I'm trying not to be biased because I do have an Ibiza FR, but so far on this relatively short drive that I've had the car, now this is by no means a full review. This is a first drive video, so if you're looking for a full comprehensive review, you're not going to quite get that here, I'm afraid, purely because this is, let me drop it down a gear, let's get back on the power, there we go, it's more like it. So this is just kind of my first impressions of the car, and so far I am rather impressed, to say the least. I did find 2 negatives with the car though. Firstly, those sporty looking exhaust pipes are fake. The real exhaust pipes are actually underneath the car, out of sight. Secondly, although this model is towards the top of the range, there are wind down windows in the rear, which I find to be quite disappointing in all honesty. Anyway, small negatives aside, let's get back to the driving. So the FR has a choice of 4 driving modes, so you can either have Eco, Comfort, Sport or Individual. Now, seeing as I was driving on the Evo Triangle, which is one of the most famous roads in the UK for being such a fantastic dynamic road, I thought it was only natural to keep it in Sport mode. must confess, I didn't think this one, I didn't think this engine would be particularly fun in this car. I thought it was just going to be a little bit too slow. Yeah, I was wrong. Now I must say guys, I wasn't expecting for FR to be that much fun, particularly with a 1 litre engine, but it really bowled me over. It's a fantastic little car. So I cannot wait to see what the FR with a 1.5 litre engine for 148 brake horsepower engine is like, as I'm sure it's going to be a complete riot. But I hope you enjoyed that video guys. If you did, give it a thumbs up and please subscribe for more car obsession.